Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast live. Yep. That's 2 live shows in one day, but that's okay because I got my special guest here and we're going to be talking some boxing. I got my guy Marko from Marko Boxing. What's good, Marko? I think you're muted.
There we go. What's up?
Maintaining, man. Good to have you here. I appreciate it. Definitely want to get your expertise and get a little preview of the big banger fight that we've got going on tomorrow night. And that's Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol for all the marbles at 175. But before we get to that, you know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't. So what's good, Marko? What's going on with you, man?
You know, life, you know how it is. Just got in.
I do.
Yeah, man. So talk to me.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join the show and talk some more boxing with us. So obviously we have you here for a reason, and that reason is to discuss the big, I guess what we hope is going to be one of the best fights of the year, and that's tomorrow night from Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season, and that is Artur Beterbiev, versus Dmitry Bivol at 175 pounds for all the marbles, unification fight. What I guess are your kind of your first thoughts on this? Like, obviously the fight's been made for a while. We know Beterbiev went through a lot to get to this point. I think he had surgery on his knee. I think he's 39, undefeated, obviously, and then you got an undefeated Bivol. So what are your first thoughts on this?
I don't know, man. I hope we don't have a letdown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried maybe it might be boring. Although that usually doesn't happen with Beterbiev.
Mm-hmm.
But Bivol has all the tools to make it a real Shakur De Los Santos kind of thing going on.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned all the tools, and it's funny you brought that up. So I was going through and doing some study and kind of watching Bivol and a lot of the things that he does in the ring. So stylistically, one of the things I noticed with him is he does a lot of in and out, really fast, long combinations, jumps in, delivers his combinations, gets right back out. And at 175, to me, he seems like he's got really fast hands, almost elite hand speed at that size. His combinations are really good. I wouldn't say so much he did a lot of the in and out when he was fighting Canelo. Obviously, he had a size advantage there, so he probably felt that he could take Canelo's power. He could stand in against that. But do you think that the in and out movement style will be effective against a guy like Beterbiev?
So I kind of didn't see it the way you saw it. I think he did do in and out with Canelo mostly because he's so much bigger. So he could keep Canelo at the end of his range, bop, 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 and then bounce out. He was doing that with Canelo. And if you see, damn, they let you just play this. If I did this, I get flagged. But anyway.
I'll tell you about that later.
Canelo is not throwing back. So, of course, he's going to stand there when the person's just earmuffing. But no, I thought he moved in and out with Canelo a lot. As far as his hand speed, I mean, maybe I'm just used to Roy Jones at 75, which is unfair, but I actually don't think his hands are that fast.
No.
I don't think they're slow. I just don't think I don't find it elite. I don't think Bivol. I think Bivol is a little overrated until proven otherwise. He beats Canelo, who is significantly smaller.
He didn't look significantly smaller in that fight.
He is, though. Canelo's probably naturally a 160-pounder. He goes up to 68, and Bivol's naturally a 175-pounder. So it's two weight classes away from him.
Right.
So Yeah, I don't. I'm not. I'm the jury's still out on Bivol for me.
Mm-hmm. I think, and it's just my opinion, I think he's pretty technically skilled. And I'm trying to think about it. You said you don't think his hands are elite at 170. Well, I guess I shouldn't have used the term elite, right? But I think his hands are very fast. Obviously, we know Roy Jones Jr., Captain Hook, arguably the best 175 pounder ever. I think there's an argument
the
for
best
that.
fighter ever, in my opinion.
Ooh.
Forget about 175 fighter ever. Nobody did what he did. Nobody
Wow.
looked like him. Nobody did what he did. Nobody was that dominant. Not even close. But anyway, that's whatever. So
But
yeah.
So let me ask you: didn't Roy Jones spend the majority of his time at 168? I thought he did.
No, he split it. He was at 160 for the first maybe quarter of his career, and then the last 75% of it he split kind of evenly between 68 and 75.
Okay. I was thinking 160. All right, but yeah. So Bivol, Roy Jones.
Roy was the last undisputed light heavyweight champion.
Well, there you go. I'm also trying to think like other than Lights Out, who did he beat? Because like a lot of times that's what we look at. Like,
well, he beat Bernard Hopkins, and he knocked out Virgil Hill with one body shot. But
okay, yeah, I saw that. Yep.
He beat 3 legends and maybe a couple more, but it's not that argument that people make is goofy because he fought everybody in his era. So
yeah,
I get if he's ducking and dodging people, but it's
right.
his fault that he didn't have the Hagler, Hearns, and Leonards in his era. It's not his fault.
Yeah. No.
So people can say that about Tyson. When Tyson was dominant, who did he beat? Tony Tucker, Pinklin Thomas, Bone Crusher Smith.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Look how good he looked doing it.
Yeah.
So you got to look at how they looked, the eyeball test, plus the competition level.
Right.
Same thing with Roy. Nobody fought like Roy. If you match Roy next to any fighter and get one of those baseball things that clock in how fast balls are thrown, and you try and measure their hand speed, Roy comes in light years faster than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So, and the fact that he's only the second person in history to go from middleweight to heavyweight champion.
Right.
So, now the problem with Roy, we'll get off Roy in a second, is that he ended up losing late in his career. So a lot of people use that and erase everything he did in his prime.
I don't think you can do that.
Well, that's the thing with pound for pound. It's all subjective. So if that's your criteria, if whole career, then I can't argue with you. My criteria is prime.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. And real quick, I think prime for me, best fighter ever has to be between Sugar Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali. Like if you talk about pre-suspension Muhammad Ali, that dude, man, hand speed, foot speed, power, like everything, just total package as a fighter. And I think Sugar Ray Leonard probably had a lot of that too in terms of that combination. Those are the two guys for me.
I agree with you with Sugar Ray Leonard. With Muhammad Ali, and this is a very unpopular opinion that I have, I think he's overrated as a fighter, not as a human being, because what he did.
No, we're talking about in the ring.
In the ring, he's overrated. In his prime, technically, by the way, is up until about 27 years old, because he came back at like 29 and suddenly he's old. And he didn't look good when he came back. Okay, like he managed to get some victories in rematches, but it
didn't look the same.
No, he beat Cleveland Williams, who was at best a journeyman.
Okay.
And of course, Sonny Liston, which was the big one.
Right.
Old Floyd Patterson.
I was about to say Floyd Patterson.
Floyd Patterson. Okay. And Floyd Patterson who came from an era where Floyd was a normal size heavyweight. But in Ali's era, which is a good 10 years, 15 years later, now he's dealing with Floyd, who's 6 feet, 200 pounds. Now he's in there with a dude who's 6'3", 220. It's not fair. So Ali whooped them.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think Ali was a great fighter. But if you look at the skills, if you take that Ali who beat Cleveland Williams, right, that guy. Yeah, it's hard. Anybody would have a hard time beating him. I agree with that.
Right. Fair enough. So yeah, we got on so we were at 175. We were talking about Bivol, and that's how we got on the Roy Jones Jr. thing. That was a nice little sidetrack. But anyway, so yeah, I look at Bivol and I'm trying to think. I don't know of within recent memory too many 175 pounders with better hand speed than him. And I was also looking, I think he's extremely accurate, both with the jab and with his combinations. Like he gets in, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's why you're here, but he seems like he really lands on target a high percentage of the time, gets in the guard extremely well. Doesn't seem to utilize an uppercut too often from what I've seen. Obviously, it's part of every fighter's repertoire, but he doesn't seem to utilize it often. Uses a lot of straight rights, a lot of crosses, and that's what I see there. But I think, and again, I think his movement is really, really good at that size range. And I don't believe that I've seen anyone recently, like at this time now, who's moving at 175 like he is. So I'm just looking at, I guess I'm trying to look for reasons that this is going to be a competitive fight. And I think when you're dealing with a monster puncher like that, if you can employ all those things, movement, accuracy, in and out, that you have an opportunity to make it a fight and maybe pull an upset.
Okay. Oh, are you asking, or that seemed like a statement?
Yeah. Asking, yeah.
What were you asking exactly? It seemed more like
just kind of your feedback on my thoughts on Bivol and what he brings to the ring.
I mean, I think Bivol, like I told you, man, he only has 3 people on his resume that I've even heard of that he's beaten, that are at all of note. John Pascal, former champion, but old when he fought him.
Okay.
Joe Smith, who I don't think ever won a title, or maybe he did. Joe Smith,
I think he did.
And Canelo. And you got to remove Canelo, in my opinion, because Canelo's smaller. So, I really believe, and I could be proven very wrong tomorrow, and then I'll take it like a man if I'm wrong. But
right, of course.
I think he is a victim of recency bias. People see him whoop Canelo the way he did, and now suddenly he has all these top-notch skills. Because really, I don't see anything about him. He's smart, but that's it. I don't see elite hand speed. I don't see elite power. I don't see elite footwork. I just see he's very smart, and his footwork is smart, but not like he's not fast. He's not angling off.
Right.
He looks like a very good fighter, not a great fighter, not an excellent fighter, a very good fighter.
Okay. All right, let's go to the other side of the coin. Let's talk about the the wrecking machine, Artur Beterbiev. Obviously, we know he brings the explosive power to the ring. He has stopped all 20 of his professional opponents, so we know that if he lands, he has a very good chance of either putting you down or having the referee stop the fight. We saw him beat, I would say, when we know what, Joe Smith Jr. I'm trying to think of the other guys. Should have looked this up beforehand, but what I was really trying to look for was common opponents between the two. I'm not sure they have any. But okay, let's say this. If you were managing a fighter and your fighter was, if you were training a fighter and your fighter was going in against Beterbiev, what would you train your fighter to do? What would you tell him in terms of trying to make it competitive and pull the upset? What's your strategy?
Give him some brass knuckles and a helmet. I don't know what you could do with him, man. You have to box him.
I would say you
don't want to bang with him. You want to keep him at your range and box him. But the problem is, Bivol and him are pretty much the same size, same length. I think maybe a taller, like a Tarver kind of fighter, maybe would have been able to keep Beterbiev at range for 12 rounds and get a decision.
Okay.
Or unless he's aged. I mean, he is 39, 38.
He's 39, yeah.
So maybe he's too old now. Who knows?
So, okay, let's look at that. He's 39 years old, but he's only fought professionally like 20 times, right? Does that make a difference in terms of maybe keeping him a little proverbially younger? The fact that he hasn't fought as many fights at 39.
No, because he had like 300 amateur fights. He has a lot of mileage on him.
Okay.
So no.
I'm really trying to see some way that this fight could be competitive. I mean, when I was watching watching footage of these guys and watching them training and all that stuff, I was watching a lot of that today and previously, and I'm like, well, I guess I try to convince myself, like, I think this could be competitive.
Oh, it could be. It could be competitive for sure. I got it 60-40 for Beterbiev winning. So 60-40 is not a huge landslide.
No.
It can be competitive. It very well may be. I haven't seen anything from Bivol that makes me think that he's gonna that he's gonna, but Beterbiev is slow. He's mechanical.
Yes.
So he can be outboxed. It's very possible. It's very possible. And eventually, nobody knocks everybody out. Nobody.
Right.
So the law of averages dictates that this might be the time that he doesn't knock somebody out.
So I was watching Beterbiev, Anthony Yard earlier today, and Yard he landed a couple of shots. So it let me know, okay, Beterbiev probably he can take some pressure, both to the body and to the head. He seems like a tough guy. He took some shots, and I think that fight went to the 8th round, and so I'm like, okay, but that just it lets you wonder, like, even if. So I guess you look at it two ways. One, if the fight gets into the deeper rounds, obviously you would assume that's better for Bivol. But with a puncher, whenever they land that big blow, they have an opportunity to put somebody away. So I'm just thinking, like, I guess it was almost like Deontay Wilder, and he used to say, and I'm not a huge fan of his. I think his skill was really lacking, but that's a different story. He always used to say, to beat me, somebody's got to be perfect for a whole fight, and I just need to be perfect, for 1 second. And so I guess, like, you see Yard here, and he's competing, he's landing some punches. I think his corner actually stopped this fight. But I guess you wonder, have you seen Bivol take any punishment or get into any really grueling physical battles in previous fights to where he was tested and you said, like, okay, he's tough?
I haven't really watched Bivol that much. No, but it doesn't matter because, nobody has the arsenal that Beterbiev has. So we've never seen him fight a Beterbiev kind of person. And we do know that he doesn't knock people out. He has a 52% knockout rate, I believe, against a 100% knockout rate.
Right.
So his only chance, I think, is to hit hard enough to keep Beterbiev a little more honest. But that probably isn't going to happen. He could possibly outbox him. I mean, look, it's possible. But I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, can he keep him off him? Does he have the power to not get walked down? I think that's where the problem is.
No, he doesn't. But he might have the speed and the agility to be a moving target.
What have you seen as being Beterbiev's best punch, his best weapon? I guess when you get a power fighter like
everything.
that,
it's everything. He throws short shots, short leverage shots, and it's every shot.
Crisp.
And it's accumulative. He's not really a one punch good night. He breaks you down over time because the punches that usually knock you out are the ones you don't see. He doesn't have this. He's not slow, but he doesn't have the speed to really knock dudes out with one punch. But so he has the clubbing shots that dudes know it's coming and they cover up and they're bracing for it. So over time, it just wears them down.
What's good, Elkan? You know what? That's something I'd have to look up. I'm not sure off the top of my head. That fight's in Riyadh.
6 p.m. Eastern. It starts.
Okay, there you go. So, did you say that again, Marco, in case you didn't hear me?
5 or 6 p.m. around there.
Okay, so about 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the States. So, because that's in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Good to see you here, Elkan. Do me a favor. If you're enjoying the convo, hit that like and subscribe channel here on YouTube. Appreciate you. So I'm just, oh man, this. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have Beterbiev winning, and I guess after that he probably should retire. I don't think there's anything left for him to do at that point. Again, at 39 years old, you've beaten everybody. Canelo's not going to come fight you. I would be shocked. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe Benavidez wants that, which that would be another great fight. But I just, at this age, I don't know. I don't know what that would be or what that would look like. Yeah, no problem, man. I don't know what that would look like. It's, So let's say, okay, regardless of who wins, let's say Beterbiev wins this fight. I think we're both picking him. Is there anybody you'd like to see him fight next?
Yeah, Benavidez.
Okay. So that's
or Morel, but I highly doubt Morel's going to win that. So Benavidez.
Okay. By the way, I think Benavidez said he's done at 168. He said he's not He's not coming back down. So I guess the Canelo fight just
he
isn't
would
going to
come
happen.
down for Canelo. He just knows that Canelo doesn't want to fight him.
Okay, I got you. Azerbaijan. All right, good to see you. Walaikum salam, brother. Walaikum salam. Yeah, so yeah, I guess not. See, that's tough, man. But I guess it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I just, I'm always looking for the big fights, the great fights. Matter of fact, we both have Beterbiev in this one. I think I was listening to the Boxing with Chris Mannix podcast, and Sergio Moro was on there with him. And do you know Sergio, by the way?
Not personally, no.
Okay. Anyway, he actually he picked a stunner. I think he's got Bivol winning this fight, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he said he's got Bivol knocking Beterbiev out. And I was like, where are you getting that from? So I don't know. I guess Sergio Mora likes I guess he likes the more skilled guys, the more technical fighters, because he wasn't a power guy. So I don't know. I guess I should ask you about that first, but I just thought it was very interesting when I heard that. I was listening to it the other day, and I was like, "Is he for real?" I don't know.
I don't know, man. That's a lot of. I mean, what are you gonna do? A lot of people have their own opinions, like
absolutely.
Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Unlikely.
Joe Garrity, what's good, man? Good to see you. Hit that like and subscribe on YouTube for me. Gonna be a battle. I think it's gonna be a battle for as long as it can be. And then, in my estimation, and I'm pretty sure Marko agrees with me on this, eventually Beterbiev is going to catch him. Like he's not going to be able to escape forever. Now, if he can, fantastic. That gives us something better to watch.
Gonna club him like a seal.
Right. Yeah, he's going to eventually catch up to him. I am definitely looking forward to this. Real quick before I let you go, Marko, what other fights upcoming are you looking forward to?
Fury Usyk 2.
Oh yeah, I forgot
big
about that.
one.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. Like, there's nothing else. You want to see Tank fight a bunch of people who he's not fighting.
Right.
Yeah, just Fury Usyk. The other ones, I'm out. These are the two. These are big ones.
Yeah. So I meant to ask you about that Tank situation. What do you think is behind these fights? Is this promotional issues that these fights with Tank aren't being made? What's the deal with that?
No, it's his choice of the direction he wants to go with his career, or his handlers, his management, whatever, who's ever choice. It's his too, though. So,
yeah, he strikes me as a guy that's going to say, "Hey, no, I want to go fight such and such, make the fight." He strikes me as that guy, but
yeah, but it's a business too. So people, make certain decisions and moves to protect their brand, to build their brand, all that.
Right. I saw on ESPN, it came across my timeline. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. They just made a couple of fights for December 7th. Good fights at the lower weight classes. Let's see if I can find it here. If not, I'll get back to you on that. Is this it? Emmanuel Navarrete. Okay, so you got Emmanuel Navarrete and Oscar Valdez, and I think yeah, my bad. Got Emmanuel Navarrete and Oscar Valdez. I think should be really good. And Rafael Espinoza and Robesi Ramirez. I like Ramirez. He's good. In the few times I've seen him, he's skilled. He's got power. Interested in either one of those?
We'll say that again.
Emmanuel Navarrete, Oscar Valdez in the rematch, and Rafael Espinoza, Robesi Ramirez.
I don't know much about either of those matchups. The first one I know a little bit. Second one I don't know much about.
Okay. Yeah, they just announced him today. Robesi Ramirez, I like him. I think he's Cuban and an Olympian, and I watched him a couple times. I'm like, okay, this kid's good. He's got good speed and good power. Lower weight classes, but it's kind of hard, man. I don't know. Another note, before I let you go, what do you think has led to the lower weight classes seeing the better fighters? Like when I was growing up, the heavyweight division, it wasn't necessarily the best division, but it was the most exciting, and that was the one that kind of garnered most of the attention. I mean, it was like the welterweight and the heavyweight. But now it seems like the lower weight classes are the ones that have the really good fighters and generally the really good fights being made. What do you think is behind that? Do you have any idea?
Sorry, I was muted. Behind which cards? Like all the current cards, or what do you mean?
In general, the fact that it seems like the lower weight classes seem to give us the better fights, and there's something, I don't know, like the heavyweights not what they once were.
I don't think they tend. I don't think they tend to give us better fights. They throw more punches, so maybe that could be perceived as sometimes more exciting. But the heavyweights also have more knockouts, so kind of goes both ways.
Got you. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna call it. I appreciate you joining me, man. Always. I know you're a busy guy and taking the time.
No, of course. I got you, and we'll maybe we'll talk. We'll talk after. After Beterbiev. I'm going for Beterbiev too.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm not going to be biased. Like if he gets his ass whooped in a decision, I'm not going to.
Yeah, you got to say it. Right.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. It was the refs. They cheated him.
or if it's a close-ish fight, a lot of people will tend to just. That's why I don't bet on fights, because I don't want my money to sway my professional analysis on, like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
I respect that.
Even if it's a close fight, I try and be as unbiased as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's
one more. Sorry.
Go ahead.
One more question for you. You hear different people having different evaluations on like a decision fight. What should sway that in terms of the volume puncher, the one who's busier? Like you hear that from some of the older guys.
That's the problem, man.
Some people say like it's the cleaner punches landed.
Everything what do you look for? Everything is subjective. Everything in boxing is subjective. That's why you'll have 3 judges that might all have vastly different cards.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What do I look for?
Figure that out. Yeah, what do you look for when you're judging a fight?
Who landed more punches? Now, granted, if it's a case where somebody's landing little pity-pat jabs and somebody else is landing hard shots, I'll give it to the person landing hard shots. If the landing number is close. So let's say if both guys land 50 shots, I'm gonna go with the guy who landed harder shots.
Okay.
Let's say, but if one guy landed 1,000 jabs and the other guy only landed 200 hard shots, I'm gonna go with 1,000 jabs.
Okay.
Because that's just still more. You know what I'm saying? So to me, the power only matters if the other person, if they landed similar amount of punches on each other. Then you go into like, okay, well now, who landed harder? And then let's say that's equal. Then I'll incorporate, okay, well, who made the other guy miss? Who had better ring generalship? But the bare bones is always who landed more shots. And then if those things are close, then you should take into account the other intangibles.
Okay. This is what I meant to ask you as well. So we're digressing a little bit from Beterbiev versus Bivol, but that's fine. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. What do you really think of this? Is this just a cash grab? It seems like Jake Paul has taken attempting to box relatively seriously for a guy who didn't grow up boxing. What do you think of this fight?
Yeah, of course. He's definitely taking it seriously. He's in the gym. He's sparring with world champions. He has the most experienced trainers and sparring partners money can buy, because he came in already rich from his YouTube success, his Disney success. He is a real fighter. And yeah, of course it's a cash. It's not all or nothing. It's not just a cash grab. He wants to make money, and so does Mike.
Right.
I don't know how much Mike is doing this for the money and how much he's doing it for the spotlight. I know Jake is definitely doing it for both.
Right.
So I feel like I don't know what's going to happen. I want to watch it, but at the same time, if Tyson gets knocked out, it's going to be kind of sad.
Yeah.
I want to see Jake get knocked out. I'm one of those people that want to see Jake get knocked out cold.
Right.
And if Mike gets knocked out, it won't ruin Mike's legacy. It will make boxing. It won't even make boxing look bad. It'll just make people feel bad.
Right.
Mike's expected to get knocked out. Depending on how you look at it. When you look at like he's 58, he's fighting a 25-year-old. People, it's not crazy to see him get knocked out just because he's basically 60. But if he knocks Jake out cold, that's also expected. Well, Jake just turned pro 4 years ago. Mike Tyson's naturally 225. Jake's barely 199 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So either whatever happens, I don't think it's going to hurt boxing. It's going to be fun to watch, but there is the threat of us turning off that TV that night and being like, God, I just feeling kind of bad, like in your stomach, almost like seeing an elderly person fucking fall down and break their hip.
Right. So
at a bus stop.
Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, these are 2-minute rounds they're fighting, right?
I don't know what it is. No, it's not. You are mistaken. No, it's a
they are fighting the 3-minute rounds?
Sanctioned pro fight, which has to be 3-minute rounds, 1-minute rest, 10-ounce gloves, all the normal rules. But I did hear that they might be doing less rounds and might be wearing bigger gloves, which confuses me because under sanctioned rules, it all has to follow the uniform guidelines. So they might be doing some weird shit where they're changing up the rules.
That's what I thought I had read, that they're finagling something, and now
I read that too, but it didn't make sense based on that's a pro fight, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the other day, Jake Paul is now offering, if Mike Tyson can last past the 4th round of their fight, he's going to pay him an extra $5 million. And if Tyson doesn't, he has to get a tattoo that says, I love Jake Paul. Stuff like that.
Tyson's not going to agree to that. That's what Jake does every fight. He does that every fight.
Stuff like that takes away to me from, I think this is why people look at Jake Paul and like, he's not for real. Yeah, he puts the work in, but
you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a fucking frat boy. That's the kind of shit frat boys do.
Right.
It's cool. It's goofy, but it's doing what he wants it to do, which is generating more views, more followers. That's all he cares about.
Right. But it sucks for people because he says, like, you know, he's offended that people don't take him seriously as a fighter. But we know if he's saying, I'll pay you an extra $5 million if you can last past the 4th round, what does that mean? That means you're going against a guy who you know is nearly 60. So you're going to try to drag his endurance out so you can beat him later, because you know that he can put you down at any time early in the fight. And so I'm like, you're trying to manipulate outcomes there. I don't have a whole lot of respect for that. I'm like, you wanted to fight. You called this guy out.
What if he gets knocked out in the 1st round? Does he still get the $5 million?
I don't even know how that works.
That matters.
I don't know how that works.
Because if he's just trying to make the fight go 4 rounds, then he's trying to not get knocked. But if it doesn't count for him getting knocked out, because I think he might get knocked out. If I had to bet, I think Tyson's going to stop him.
I would think so too. I mean, obviously there's short snippets, but just watching Tyson's training, he's still explosive.
If we get the Roy Jones Tyson, no. But that Tyson was holding back.
That's what I was about to say. I think that Tyson was trying not to dismantle Roy Jones. He could have finished him in that fight.
And he didn't go to Roy's head that much.
Say again?
He wasn't going to Roy's head that much. He was definitely holding back. You know, but Roy was literally 50 pounds lighter than him. You know, so that's why. I remember when they're the same height, but when you looked at them standing next to each other, Mike Tyson looked like a pit bull with his neck, his head, and Roy looked like a little poodle. Like it was just so much smaller.
Right.
Like like for real, the bone structure, such a difference. So with Jake, there's a difference too, but not nearly as vast.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I just, like I said, I don't like all the funny stuff and all that extra stuff in there. But all right, so we're definitely gonna let it go here. I'm out of questions. I don't have anything else to ask you about. But before you go ahead, let the people know where they can find you.
Marko Boxing on all platforms. Marko with a K, Boxing, all platforms. Dropping videos daily. I'm gonna do one today. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna do actually Tyson versus Danny Green when he got knocked out.
Oh man,
because people don't talk about that. That was a good fight because Tyson was whooping his ass, almost had him down, and then the fight just switched. I think I might do that one. But anyway, yeah,
check that out. So Marko Boxing, everybody. No doubt, man, no doubt. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk after we'll talk after this fight, man. You have a good one.
Peace.
All right.